Vlog coming in hot. It's been a minute since I've just given a life update on YouTube, and I feel like with 2024, it's only been, 6 weeks? But so much change is happening in a good way in the Tolentino household. So today I just want to kind of walk through what I've been navigating, what pulls and tugs that God is giving me to do for myself and my family, and just kind of share like what I'm forecasting. I can't even see the end of this year yet, but like what I'm envisioning for spring. Let's just talk spring for a second. So rolling right into it, we had a great last year of business. I'm so blessed for all the transactions we were able to do, for the friends and families who we were able to help buy and sell homes. And it was pretty consuming, to be honest. Even though data has come out to say that, hey, the number of transactions done in 2023 were equivalent to the number of transactions in 2008, aka being one of the slowest years in real estate since the mortgage crisis of 2008, we made it, and we actually matched our 2022 income, which was incredible. So I'm already anticipating 2024 to be a better year than last year, which would be such a blessing. But with all that aside is like, I prioritized work more than anything. And this is something that we talk a lot about on my new podcast called the Work Like a Mother podcast, of how to juggle it all. How do we do it all? How are we present moms, but successful careers and good wives and still a sane person at the end of the day? That's generally the point of this podcast. But I felt like God was starting to sprinkle like little ideas and little seeds in my brain last fall and winter. And then I went home to Washington for Christmas and had an incredible time, like the most idyllic white Christmas. Like we're opening gifts on the fireplace, looking outside with big fat white flakes with the snow. It was just so pretty, but really got to have quality unplugged time where my phone was aside and I just reconnected with my family. And it really refueled me and helped me remember that this is kind of what it was like during COVID, where we had so much time together and it was so much fun, and how far I've kind of strayed from that. So fast forward again, I'm having all this like vision and excitement and like encouragement to spend more time with my family in 2024. So over the Christmas break, my husband and I, we had road trip too. We went to Canada, which was great. We went up to Vancouver. And so lots of time in the car, like 6-7 hours in one day. And we were like, what if we should move back to Waianae? And what would that look like for our family? So let me just like backtrack a little bit. When we moved back to Hawaii from California, my husband got out of the Coast Guard. We had lived with his parents in Waianae. So my in-laws are out there. They've been there since the 80s. It's the house that my husband grew up in, and it's just this quaint farmhouse. They have 2 acres behind the house, which is a lot of land. And then we have an additional 8 acres that we lease for the farm, and that's where our honey company is. So we had moved out of that house in 2022, I'm doing the math now. And so lived there for 5 years, 6 years, and felt like culture told us we had to buy the house. We had to move away. We had to do our own thing, be a nuclear family to be successful. Well, we've since done that. And now it's 2024. We have 2 condos under our belt, which I'm so grateful for. We are now landlords of potentially 2. We're about to rent this one, and deciding to move back to that house, which I realize is a big sacrifice when it comes to traffic. Like the locals know, like Waianae traffic is for real, but I'm willing to do it because I've come to appreciate the blessing that it was to have multi-generational living with my in-laws, to have not only their experience and their life wisdom, but the relationship building with our children, and then also just a simpler way of life. I think there was a reel that I saw while I was scrolling during the Super Bowl, and it talks about like, hey, this is like a generation who just wants to live like the 90s again. Like as parents, we're looking back at our children, seeing how much they're on screens today and just going, man, we didn't have it this way. Like when we were bored, we were told to come outside and don't come back home until it's dark. And how can we get back to that today with all of this technology? It's really, really hard, and our kids don't know the skill of boredom and how to be creative anymore. But I've noticed when our kids are in our condo, all they want to do is watch screens. They want the iPad, they want the phone, they want the TV. And it's like so easy to default to constantly have the TV on. However, when we go to Waianae and we're at my in-laws' place, there is more than enough space for all of us. They are outside 90% of the time and only come in when it's dark or to get a snack, and then they go right back outside again. And there's not even like the tension or the arguments or the excuses and the back talk about getting on a screen, because they want to be outside. And that's the true nature of children. They want to be creative, they want to go explore, they want to do things outside with their friends, and they can just be free, and it's just such a different lifestyle. And I realize this is something that not everyone has that option where they're at in their phase of life right now, but it could be something to work towards. But for us, we had it, and we walked away from it thinking it was better because that's what culture told us to do. And we realized, actually, in this season of life, I think it's best if we do go back. So that's part of our transition. We'll be moving back to Waianae in the next month or so, which seems like a whirlwind and very fast, but it's just totally where I feel like God is calling us to go back to. In addition to that, I've been having some issues with Roman's school this last year, and I won't get into the details, but 2 weeks ago, something happened at his class where she started taking away recess. And as you guys know, little boys are full of energy and they love to talk, and it's not fair to punish the entire class for a couple of kids or ever to take it away because they need to get that energy out. So you're expecting an 8-year-old to sit in a chair for 6 hours of the day, 6 to 8 hours, and sit there and be quiet, and it's just not realistic. And if you take away recess, they're just gonna act out more. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I pulled him out without a plan and just was like, we're gonna figure it out along the way. So I spent a good 5 days fully binging and researching every single night of like, how the heck do you homeschool in 2024? What does this look like? In my head, I had stereotypes of 1990s, like minivans full of children with the long jean skirts. And that was my vision of homeschooling, but I know it's coming a long way. I just didn't know what I didn't know. So I've spent the last 2 weeks now really researching, bought some curriculum. I have it in my hand now, and I can say it's actually really simple and not as complicated as I thought it was going to be. And to say there's so much forgiveness and grace in any way you want to do it. There's a whole spectrum of ways to homeschool, from the most structured, rigid ones to literally unschooling them where they don't do any curriculum. We're kind of in the middle where I do want to have curriculum. I want to make sure that he's on track and we're following somewhat of a schedule, but it's not to say that it has to be the same time every day or the same subject every day. Totally opposite. So we are officially starting homeschool this week, which it's the week after Disneyland. So backtrack 2 weeks, we pulled him out, submitted the paperwork to the school. We went to Disneyland last week in California, and now it's Monday and we're back on track. We're starting and it's fun, and I'm actually really excited to reconnect with my son, just to reflect on like how we were living life. We'd wake up at 5:30 in the morning. He would get on the bus by 6:25, and then school started at 7:45. And then after school, he would do after school program, which is with the YMCA, until up to 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. I'd usually try to pick him up at 4:30. And then he comes home and we have 2 hours or so until dinner. And then he goes to bed. Like 7:30 is bedtime routine, and they're lights out at 8. So I'm only seeing him 3-4 hours of the day. And of that, it's not face-to-face connect time. It's like screens, it's hurry up, it's I'm doing errands, and it's just this whole different way of life. And I realized I was completely disconnected from him and his learning style, and not his personality, but I also saw like the excitement and that spark for learning start to dissipate over the 3rd grade. Whereas like in 2nd grade, he still had that, he had fun. And this year it was like every day, do I have to go, Mom? Can you pick me up early? Like it just, something changed in 3rd grade. And so I don't know if we're gonna homeschool forever, but for this season of life, we're gonna take it day by day and just see what happens. And again, I realize not everyone has that opportunity with their career or their season of life, but in this one for us, it feels good, and I'm really, really excited about it. And then just quick background, I actually have a bachelor's degree in early childhood education with a minor in special ed. And so I feel pretty equipped. I feel like I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm a mom. And so it's also challenging because there's a whole slew of emotions that come with mom teaching you instead of a teacher teaching you. So I'm sure there will be tears. I'm sure there will be arguments, but in the end, I think it's gonna be really, really fun and an exciting time to reconnect. All that to be said, it is almost the end of February, and there's a lot of transitioning happening in our household just in the last month and a half, basically. And so I will keep you along the journey. I think moving forward in 2024, I would like to vlog once a month with just a life update, share with you the things I'm excited about, share with you the things that we're working on. I haven't really shared much of our farm life on this channel yet at all. It's kind of like I really unplug when I go farm life, but it's definitely who we are as people. Like my husband was raised on a farm. We come from generations of plantation workers, and that's all things that we will be sharing more along the journey. But just as a reminder, we are beekeepers. We have this honey company with over 75 beehives. Not a lot of people know how to do that or know much about it. It's called Tolentino Honey Co., and it's our family farm. And then my in-laws, they vegetable farm, eggplant, taro. What else do they have right now? Bitter melon, squash, papaya, banana, all the veggies. That's like what we do. And they've been doing that for the last 30 plus years. Maybe almost 40 years now, holy moly. But if you guys have questions, I would love to hear. What do you wanna know about life in Hawaii? What do you wanna know about our family? I am willing to open up a little bit more and be a little bit more personal as we go forward, and just exciting to see what happens along the ride. So I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.